Another day, another conversation about the 2026 NHL Draft. Now, I will say this, if you're a Vancouver Canucks fan, please check out the video that we made the other day as to whether or not Chase Reed out of the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds is a number one challenger. The reason we were talking about him in this spot is because Corey Pronman of The Athletic ranked Chase Reed as the number one prospect in this year's draft. And that obviously tickles the fancy of many Canucks fans, eagerly watching this team from afar as they continue their trek towards the potential first overall pick lottery odds. They have the highest chance at drafting number one. But with that said, even though the consolidatedly ranked number one prospect is Gavin McKenna, there still are some other guys that we can pay attention to and that we can be excited for. Particularly Ivar Stenberg and Keaton Verhoeff. All three of these guys have been flirting with the idea of the Vancouver Canucks drafting them. And I do think, at this point, you can't really be too upset if you get any of them. Obviously, Gavin McKenna is the guy that we all thought and we all believed was going to be number one for most of his life, honestly. We were talking about Gavin McKenna 2-3 years ago. Now, the reputation has built up to this point where, yeah, he probably should still be the number one guy, and his production as of late in the NCAA would definitely justify it. But I'm making this video more as a safety net for Vancouver Canucks fans who are eagerly anticipating the way the draft lottery is going to go. Let's take a look at this quote made from Jabo Vancouver, who posted on Twitter yesterday afternoon. I'm listening to Shane Malloy on Sportsnet 650, probably my most trusted of draft analysts, and he has me feeling less concerned about the Canucks falling to number 3. The potential of having Tom Willander, Zeev Buium, D. Petey, and Keaton Verhoeff patrolling the Canucks' blue line for a decade wouldn't be a bad thing. Now, one of the replies goes out there and says the Canucks still need one more elite D in their rebuild in order to be a cup contender. Whether they get it this year or next year does not matter. They will need to get one more. A reply from Karen Bassi goes out there and says this, hey, it's a valid point. Keaton Verhoeff is a beast. At number 1, the Vancouver Canucks may just choose Gavin McKenna. At number 2, they've got Ivar Stenberg available for them. And at number 3, they could choose either Verhoeff or Chase Reed. Both are awesome. This, I think, is the biggest thing that Canucks fans may need to start internalizing about the Canucks and their draft lottery odds. Odds are just odds. And right now, they have a 25.1% chance at drafting first overall. That unfortunately means they have a 74% chance at drafting not first. Either 2 or 3. What are the odds that another team goes out there and wins first overall? There's a 75% chance that a team does that. Vancouver has a 1.25 chance of drafting number 1, which is not the highest that you would expect, but it is the highest amongst all these other NHL teams. So the odds of them actually staying at 1 are not likely. If they slip to number 2, that's easy. You take Stenberg, a guy that's already been reported to actually being higher up on Vancouver's list over McKenna anyway. And then if you slip to number 3, Keaton Verhoeff is your number 1 right-handed defenseman long-term. Yes, Filip Hronek is signed long-term. Yes, Tom Willander is pretty good, and yes, you still have Victor Mancini, but a top-tier, number 1 right-handed D has never hurt anybody. Matthew Schaefer is doing amazing things with New York. Keaton Verhoeff might be in a similar territory to that. And even if you wanted to argue that a guy like Chase Reed should be number 1, like Corey Pronman on The Athletic did a few days ago, that is still a number 1 right-handed defenseman option if you choose to go that route. Yes, it is true. I think a lot of Canucks fans, myself included, would say that, hey, the D-core's already filled out. Why do you need more? Zeev Buium, Tom Willander, Mancini, D. Petey, that's great enough, and you still have Hronek. But getting another player that happens to be a top-tier player at that spot, that's not necessarily a bad thing either. And Keaton Verhoeff has been ranked by some as high as number 1 to begin with. So, what gives? You really can't go wrong. Unfortunately, this is not the Macklin Celebrini or the Connor Bedard draft, where it's absolutely guaranteed that the number 1 guy is the number 1 guy. The fact that we even had conversations about Stenberg going number 1, and back in the early parts of the year there were conversations on Verhoeff being number 1, means that the very top of this draft is a lot muddier than usual, despite the fact that Gavin McKenna was the first overall projected pick for years. I'm not necessarily saying this is Shane Wright 2.0, because that guy was also the projected first overall pick for years, only to slip to 4 on draft day. But I am saying there are enough reasons to go out there and start thinking about some of these other guys as potential top picks as well. And for Vancouver's sake, even if it's not at number 1, they will still get one of these guys. They are going to finish last in the NHL, and knock on wood, if that doesn't gosh darn happen, I would be very disappointed with the Vancouver Canucks. If they find a way to go on a heater and overtake Calgary and Chicago, lowering their draft odds and getting a higher position in the process, I would be very surprised. But Vancouver, if they finish last like they are projected to finishing, the lowest they could draft is 3rd overall, and which automatically means they will get one of these 3 guys available to them. Unless they go totally off the board, they take Chase Reed or Caleb Malholtra, or they take a Tynan Lawrence or whomever. It seems like Vancouver may be setting themselves up for some pretty good draft results. And they still have the Minnesota first too. And they still have some seconds. And they have the ability to maybe make some trades and trade up in the draft and grab even more top picks. It's the first year pretty much ever that we are seeing Patrick Allvin be able to cycle through and actually get lots of draft capital, because we saw the team trade away the first-round pick for Marcus Pettersson. We saw them trade away a first for Elias Lindholm. We saw the Canucks do all these seller-type moves over the past few years. But now, it's finally time to focus on the future. And with Vancouver potentially being bad next year, maybe being in a spot to take Landon Dupont first overall next year too, you could really bolster up your D-core and just how everything shapes up for the long term with this year's draft and next year's combined. So with all that said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this solace for Vancouver Canucks fans at the 2026 NHL Entry Draft? Whether or not they draft 1, 2, or 3, they will be getting a good player. And the fact is, each of these top guys could debatably be number 1 caliber to begin with, which makes it a lot easier, I'd say, to fully take in 1 or 2 or 3 of them being available to the Canucks at the 2026 draft. Who out of these 3 do you want the most? Is it Ivar Stenberg, the complete Swedish winger? Is it Gavin McKenna, the next Patrick Kane? Or is it Keaton Verhoeff, a guy who may be able to replicate what Matthew Schaefer's doing with the Islanders, but on the right side, as a big behemoth of a guy playing in the NCAA right now? Would you instead prefer Chase Reed like Corey Pronman is in his Athletic article? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below if you're a Canucks fan. How do you feel about the draft? I hope you enjoyed this Swedish Ash Roll sign on. And bye.